Hey guys, I made my mom a keepsake box for Mother's Day and I recorded the process for you guys. It took me a couple days, so I had to speed up the process here in the video and do a voiceover for you. But basically, it's just a wood box that you buy at like Hobby Lobby or Joann's. I'll put everything in the description box below so that you can see what I used and the name of the colors and all of that. But the paint I'm using is just a regular craft paint, a craft acrylic paint, and I applied it with that sponge applicator in the creases, and then I took a baby wipe and I kind of moved the paint around. It's kind of like staining. You're staining the box with acrylic paint. That's kind of what I feel like it ended up looking like. So I did the whole entire inside and out, all the way around. And then now I'm going to add the second layer of paint, which is cream, using the baby wipe. And again, it's kind of like a staining look. It's really nice. It's really pretty. I really like the way it turned out. And it's easy. Oh my gosh, it couldn't get any easier. So I ended up doing the entire box this way, inside and out. I wanted to apologize to you real quick about my voice. I'm having some more allergy problems. So my voice is cracking here and there, so I just wanted to apologize in advance for that. I did notice when I was using the baby wipes that when the baby wipe was wet, the paint moved a lot easier. So I went through several of the baby wipes. So here I'm showing you the feet that I put on the box, and I used two different glues because I wanted the E6000 to really hold on to, to really like be a permanent solution, but I wanted it to grab quick. So I used the E6000 and then I used a little bit of the Fabri-Tac just so it would grab quick to the box. And those feet are Hobby Lobby brand spare parts or Paper Studio or whatever they call their brand. Tim Holtz has box feet too, but I didn't have any of those and I couldn't find them, so I had these and they're really pretty. And I think adding the feet to the box just really makes it something special. I could have gone a different direction and used beads or wood peg type feet or something like that, but I really like the way these turned out. I think the metal it just is charming, I guess, is the best way I can think to describe it. And I did end up leaving the box sit quite some time. It wasn't overnight, but it was like hours that I left it sit upside down before I flipped it over. So now I'm starting to work on some of the embellishments, and that's just a little clay pot that you can get in the floral section at the craft store. And I'm going for my mom has like fairy gardens and stuff like that she has in her yard, and she has some pretty neat stuff in her yard. So I was kind of going towards that direction on what I wanted the embellishments to be. And it ends up pretty cool. I don't think I show you a picture in the beginning, but this is just moss that you buy also in the floral department, and I'm just gluing it inside the pot. I want it to look like it's kind of flowing out, like overflowing. It's going to be sitting on top of the box, so it's going to be like laying on its side, and it's going to, it's like flowers are flowing out of it or growing out of it. It just has a real natural woodland type feel to it. But yeah, my mom has a lot of like fairy gardens, and she has a lot of little cutesy little things like that. And I was trying to go for a little bit of a realistic type feel, I guess. Whimsical, realistic type feel. There we go. I'm showing you, I've got these these letters. I don't end up using these letters. They're too big. But I left it in there so that you could see why I use such a big piece of wood. Those are like little wood chips. I don't have that. Oh, yes, I do. Let me grab the package. WoodPile Fun Natural Birch Wood Chips. Got that at Hobby Lobby as well. I think it was, I don't remember exactly what section. And then the little barrel piece that I put up there on the top there, that was like, you could, for your fairy gardens, that was one of those things that you could, it's like in that section in the store. I don't know if I kept that either. Oh, yeah, I did. My Garden Friends. And it's just like a cool little barrel. So I'm gluing everything down, and then I added that little clay pot there, and it's from the miniature section in the store, where you can get dollhouse type stuff. It was like a little package that was there, and I thought that would be cute to add. So I added the moss around everything, all of the wood pieces and the pots. I even put some in the little clay pot there. So now I'm adding a bunch of glue inside of that barrel because I wanted to put those pretty rocks inside of there to make it look like there was something going on, because now I'm going to fill it with diamond glaze, and that I probably should have waited to do until I was done messing around, because I could not flip the box around because that stayed wet for, well, at least overnight, probably a good 24 hours. That stuff was still wet. So I probably should have waited to do that until last, but it ended up looking really pretty. So here I'm showing you I'm adding some matching blue paint because I thought I was going to use those big letters and it just didn't look right. So I was trying to make that wood piece look blue, but hey, I changed my mind. I went to a different direction. So now I've got a collection of all these different flowers. I will put in the description box below which ones I use, but 2 of them are Prima packages and then the rest of them are Hobby Lobby brand, and I've got them all half off, so that was awesome. Well, except for the Prima flowers. I didn't get the Primas half off. Hobby Lobby also has those tiny flowers in packages, and I just put them in a jar because the packages don't have like a zip top, it's just a plastic bag, so I don't like to lose them. Plus they look prettier in my craft room in those little jars. So I'm just placing them here and there and everywhere, and I tried to go with spring type colors, a real soft, palette mostly, and different sizes and shapes, and I'm just adding them all around like in big clusters. My mom likes lots of flowers, so I'm just adding them everywhere. I put some in the barrel there to make it look like, like a lily pad type situation. She has like a fish pond, she calls it. It's just a barrel, with water in it. So now I'm adding the flowers to the moss itself, or I'm picking them out to make them look like they're spilling over. So this whole time I've been using the Fabri-Tac glue from Beacon to glue everything down. It does really good when it's stuff like the clay pot and the wood pieces and the moss and the big flowers and all of that. Probably should use something different for the little ones because it got all over my fingers, but that's okay. Live and learn. So then I'm showing you, those are Tim Holtz letters. That the big ones were just too big, but then I thought about that I had these letters, and it's Alpha Parts by Tim Holtz, and they're kind of not rustic, they're kind of, I don't know, they look like they belong there. They're what's the word I'm looking for here? They're distressed looking or something. But anyway, they looked really good when all I did was put gesso over top of them, over top of the black, and it just looks awesome. I think it's the perfect solution. The big letters just were not working. Here, I'm going to show you a close-up. Kind of looks like it could be carved stone or carved wood, so it just looks really cool. So now I'm just adding some more clusters of flowers. Oh, I lost some footage, like when I did the letters, when I painted the letters with the gesso, and then there's also a sign that I added in there in between the pot and the barrel. It says Home Sweet Home. It's just like a little fairy garden sign. I don't know if my camera, if I just didn't hit the right button or what, but anyways, now I'm just adding some of the little flowers here and there along the path there. It's just so cute. It's just so sweet. And I don't know if you can tell, but some of the moss, I draped it over the sides. Oh, and I took moss and I added it all the way around the flowers. I tucked moss in and around where I added flowers just to make it look like the flowers were growing out of the moss. Although I don't know if flowers really do grow out of moss, but on this box they do. So anyways, it just looks really sweet. I really like it. My mom's been she's been doing a lot of spring cleaning, and she's been finding little knick-knacky stuff here and there, like keepsake stuff. So I thought she needed a sweet little box to put them in. And this would be perfect. So I just showed you there is some acrylic gesso, and I'm just going to go through the whole entire thing, and I'm just going to add it here and there on highlights and hit just about every surface, even the moss, just to kind of give it some sort of uniformity. Is that the right word? I just kind of want it to look shabby, and I don't know, I just think it gives it this extra something to it, Oh, I also added a little bee there. I don't know if you all saw that. There's a little bee in the clay pot, the flowers flowing out of the clay pot. She likes bees too. So I'm just going through and I'm adding gesso anywhere and everywhere on every surface, on every petal I can see. Well, maybe not every petal, but you know. Now I'm adding some gesso highlights to the box itself because I felt like it might have been a little bit of a stark contrast between the gesso on everything else and nothing on the box. So I decided to add a little bit here and there. And I'm getting ready to add some sprays to it, and I thought maybe that would help the spray grab onto the box a little bit better. And it did, it helped. So those are Lindy's Stamp Gang. They're flat Fabio, and it's the Lee Weber collection. And I don't remember the name of the collection, but the green is the merry-go-round green, and then the blue is tilt-a-wheel teal. So all I did was I just sprayed it in the spots that I wanted, and then I sprayed it with a little bit of water, and then I used a brush and a baby wipe to kind of dab up a little bit of the excess and to move it around just a little bit. And so I fully dry it, and then I ended up doing, I guess, maybe 2 or 3 layers just to build up some color, and it does really have a nice pretty effect when you dry it and then add some more colors. I think at one point, I think I took it out of the footage though. I think at one point I added some different colors, but I didn't like it, and it was wet enough that I just wiped it completely off. I think I added like pink or something. I don't know. You'll notice here that I'm putting the color on the sides, but I also put gesso on all of the hardware and the feet just to kind of make it all cohesive. And I ended up spraying that everywhere along the outside. I'm almost 100% certain that I did not spray it on the inside. So then I decided that I needed to add like a vintage edge to the box. So that is Archival ink by Ranger, and the color is Potting Soil. And I just needed some definition. I just thought that it was just still a little too stark and plain looking, and I wanted that old look, you know, that's been around a long time look. And I really think that that color really achieved it. I usually would use like the color coffee in Archival ink, or I would use Vintage Photo Distress ink, but those were too reddish, and I wanted that brown dirt look, you know. But anyway, so I went on all the edges, and I even hit the hardware with it too. I just decided that the hardware at the end I can add some gesso to make it stand out just a little bit more, but I just wanted it to be all very cohesive. Sorry about the squeaky chair. I'm sitting in a squeaky chair trying to record this narration, and I keep moving and it keeps squeaking, and I'm sorry. Okay, so now I have decided I made another one of those clay pots, and I decided to make like a little scene inside the box itself. I mean, why not, right? I had another clay pot, and it was really cool looking, and I thought, why not? So I'm just going to add the moss just like I did on the top of the box, adding it around the base of the clay pot, and I'm going to be putting some on the lid. I did something a little bit different with this mixed media project. Normally, I would really concentrate hard on how I wanted the layout to look, where the wet flowers were going where, and I would spend hours placing and moving and take pictures and look at it, and then I would think about it for a while. I mean, sometimes it can be a really ridiculously long process. But I didn't do that this time. I had an idea in my head, and I was just like, just go for it. Just start placing things and stop when you think you should stop, you know. The good thing about using the Fabri-Tac is, you know, it gives you plenty of time where you can move stuff around. You can even remove it. You don't even have to leave it there if you decide, oh, I don't like that. So you can add and move and change for quite a long time using the Fabri-Tac. And so that's usually, you know, the main reason I use it, besides the fact that it grabs on quick. I know it doesn't make sense. It grabs on quick, but you can move it around. I don't know. It's a fantastic glue. So that's my go-to glue. So yeah, so you can see me, I'm still tucking in pieces here and there, the moss. I just really thought that looked really, really cool. And I'm going to add some of the little baby flowers and the little tiny ones, you know. and I'm going to add some in the corner as well. So I just keep adding flowers. And you can see, as you can see, this is like the next day because I've got the box flipped open and it's almost upside down. So that diamond glaze stuff that I put in the barrel, it's still not 100% dry all the way through, but it's dry enough to where I can do this without it like falling out, I guess is the best way to say it. Um, I really wish I'd have waited to do that. But then it might not have been dry when I gave it to my mom. So it was crystal clear when I gave it to my mom. And it really looked really neat. So I wanted to add some writing into the lid of the box, and I wanted to do some paint. I wanted to like hand paint it like brush lettering, but the angle, I wanted to do it like in the lid. So the angle of the box just really prevented me from being able to do that because I tried it, trust me, a couple times, and it was awful. I hated it. And luckily I wiped it up real fast and nobody the wiser, right? So what I did was instead I just hand wrote out on just regular paper what I wanted to say, and then just tore the edges all the way around. And then I used that same archival ink potting soil and just antiqued it up like crazy. Just went around the edges and added some to the middle. And then I wanted to use the gesso to make the ripped torn part kind of stand out again. Okay, so this is what it ended up looking like, and I just ended up adding some Fabri-Tac to the back of it to attach it to the lid, and I think it turned out really good. I think it actually, for me, it looks a little better than the brush lettering idea that I had in my head. But either way, the only thing I didn't do was I forgot to add the date. So, Mom, could you please add the date for me? Okay, so let me know what you think. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment below and tell me what you think. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I guess that's all I got for you today. And happy Mother's Day to all you folks out there. And I'll see you next time.